Hello and welcome to your tutorial to make these beautiful and very cute Scandi gonks. So we have a male gonk here with a lovely beard and a female gonk here with pretty little plaits. And I'm just going to talk you through what we've got inside your kit. So if I put those to one side for the moment. So you've got two pieces of giant unspun acrylic fibre, so they're going to be used to make your beard and hair over there. Then you've got noses, two wooden balls, two buttons, you've got two pieces of jute twine. Now these will be they're about the same length, so one of them will make the little hanging loops, and then the other one you'll use to tie these little bows under here. And then finally you've got your pieces of felt to make the hats. So the way to make the hats is identical for each gonk. So I'm going to make one, and then you'll be able to use that same method for the second gonk. Now then, you're going to need a glue gun or a fast drying glue like a super glue or something like that, but obviously be very careful, well, with all glues, especially the hot ones, not to burn yourself, or with super glues to get your fingers stuck together, so take care with the glue. But I've got a hot gun with some glue sticks, and we're going to start off. I'm going to take one of the pieces of twine and just cut it in half, because I want to make a hanging loop for our first gonk. So there we go. I'm just going to fold it in half like that, and we're going to glue this into the top of the hat. So to make the hat, what we want to do is take our twine, and we're just going to figure out the position that we're happy with, but you want to go, imagine that is the centerpiece there, that's the center line. If you fold it in half, you'll be able to see it as well. There's our center. You want to go ever so slightly to the left of center, maybe a centimetre, and you're going to place your twine there. So about 2 to 3 centimetres of twine are going to sit, or 1 inch is going to sit just on the felt there, and the rest is going to hang out the top. So once we're happy with the position like that, we're just going to lift it off, place some glue down, and just stick that twine on like that. And I might just top it up with a little more glue on the top, because now we're going to start folding the hat. So taking that angle, which is sort of pointing like that, we want to basically fold the felt over like that. And then we're going to continue folding, but we're going to follow the line of the edge there. So we're going to fold against that line like that. Do one more fold over like that. You'll start to see the shape of the hat is now appearing. And then we're going to continue rolling it round. Now you might want to see, that's feeling a little bit narrow, that hat for me, so I'm going to just go back. This is where you get to play around with exactly what feels right for you. So I'm going to just increase that fold and then fold it again. That's looking a bit wider. Can you see at the bottom of the hat? So you may want a very wide one, in which case increase that fold much more, or you may want a very narrow, very tall hat. So you can adjust that according to your preference, really. And then you're just going to continue folding along the next line that you've created like that, and that's going to leave us with this lovely triangle shape. a little bit that hangs down at the back, and then an extra piece that folds over the front, like this. So we don't need to put any glue on the interior of the hat. All we want to do is now glue down this flap at the front here. So I'm just going to put some glue along those edges, like that. Gently stick it down, and there we are. So to complete the hat, you're just going to take a button. I've chosen the snowflake for the male Gonk. I'm just going to pop some glue on the back and then stick that onto the section of hat that folds over at the front. You can put it anywhere you like. You could put it on the edge here, on the lower part of the hat, wherever feels right. So that's the hat done, which is super simple. And now we're going to take one piece of this fluffy fibre. So what I suggest you do is flatten it out and then fold it in half so it becomes double thickness, like that. And then what we're going to be doing is sort of squashing it like that and then popping it up inside the hat with some glue and sticking it in. So we want to make sure that we've got it as even as possible and that we're happy with the position of it. And then once we've got it stuck inside, we can then give it a bit of a haircut and shape the beard. So we're going to go into the interior of the hat, along the back wall of the hat, sort of underneath where that front line bottom edge is. So just under there, but on the back inside of the hat, we're just going to put some glue. So just make sure you've put a decent amount along the back, and then take your fibre and just pop it inside. Careful with your fingers, and you want to just tap it down so that it makes contact with the glue. Okay, so now the next job is we need to complete the front here of the hat to make sure it's secure, and also place our wonderful nose just poking out underneath the hat. So I think that's the first thing we'll do, is place the nose. So you're going to need a fairly decent blob of glue. So you're going to lift up the front of the hat, and just kind of where the edge would land on the fibre, you just want to put a really decent blob of glue there. And then you're going to take your nose and just roll it underneath the edge, because you want it to sort of poke out like that. Make sure it's made contact with the glue there. There we go. So we've got it positioned nice and central. And now we can just take our glue gun and just run a little line of glue under the rim of the hat and press that down so that it sticks to the fibre. Just do the other side. And if you do get any little bits of glue that kind of trail out like that, once they're dry you can just snip them off with scissors. So I feel like there's a little gap on this side, so I'm just going to add a little bit more glue there and press that down. And the same on this side. Okay, so I will trim those little gluey bits off in a second. But now comes the really fun bit. So this is where you get to style. So you can come down into a sort of a V-shaped beard, a bit like this guy here. you can actually, if you want to, sort of take sections and you can sort of rub it between your fingers like this, and it sort of twizzles into kind of almost like dreadlocky strands, and so you can make quite a sort of beard with a lot of personality if you want to, a bit wizardy. Another thing you can do is actually create kind of like a moustache. As you'll see, this fibre, you can just pull the fibres apart, so you can pull up what you need. From there you can twist the fibre around a bit and make it into a bit of a moustache. What's quite good to use actually is a little bit of wax, like hair wax, or even something like a furniture wax, or Vaseline is quite good as well. Something like that, just to kind of tease the fibres with your fingers, and then you can trim the end. If I do that now, trim the end. I'm not sure it's going to do it without any wax on my fingers, but we'll give it a go. Yeah, it's kind of, it's getting that sort of pointed edge, pointed end. And so you can do the same on the other side and just make yourself a really nice massive moustache, which is quite cute, and then trim the beard. But what I'm going to do is just show you trimming the beard for now. So I've got some fairly sharp scissors, and I'm going to turn him upside down so that I'm cutting towards the point. And then I'm going to start about 1.5 centimetres from the top and just go in a diagonal towards the middle. There you go. And then I'm going to turn him over so that I'm still pointing that way. And there we go. So that can be fashioned a little bit more with some twizzly bits, or you can just sort of tease out the ends at the point there to make a sort of twizzly point to his beard, Viking style. And that's him done. So the only other thing that's different to show you is what we do with the plaits. So you'll make this hat in exactly the same way. So you'll fold at an angle, glue in your twine hanging loop, stick your button on, and then all that's different is that you'll take your folded piece of acrylic yarn here, and you'll open it up and then split off 2/3, so 1/3 on that side, 1/3 on that side, and pull the yarn apart about halfway in. And then from there you'll take that section on the end and you'll split it further into 3 like that, and then you'll literally braid it just like I'm doing with this central bit. She doesn't need a third plait, but just to show you, so you just braid it like that. Okay. And then when you get to the end, let's lay this all back out again. So when we get to the end of our little braids like that, that's when you're going to get your other piece of twine, cut it in half, and then you're going to pop that around the bottom and just tie yourself a little bow. It should be long enough to manipulate with your fingers without losing the ends, and then you can trim it down. Okay, just going to make that bow a tiny bit smaller. And then you're just going to trim the ends off. And if you want to, you can even trim the end of the... So once you've done your plaits and you've tied your little bows on, you're going to fold it back in half again, like that. And this is where you've got the opportunity to even up any little bits that stick out at the bottom there. Make it all nice and neat. And then that is ready to pop inside the other hat that you've made. So you're literally just going to take it like that, as we did before, put the glue inside the back of the hat, insert the hair like that, pop your nose on, and you are done. So you'll end up with this little girl here. So I hope you've enjoyed the tutorial. I think you'll find that they're quite fun to make, and they've got bags of personality. Here I've got lots of different colours here. All that's left for me to do is to wish you a very Merry Christmas, and thanks again for joining me on this tutorial.